Hello everybody, ProtoFox come back at you with another video. I have nothing here. You're about to ask yourself, why ProtoFoxy do you have nothing here? Because I'm doing something a little different. Trying something new. Gonna maybe do this for other things on the channel, but I've been wanting to do it, and now we're gonna get down to it. My top 5 favorite figures of particular franchise, toy line, what have you, and we're gonna start, because I'm on an RAD 15 kick, Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015. It was the follow-up to Transformers Prime. I've discussed in a couple other videos here and there that it was the only way you could follow up a series like Transformers Prime, which is one of my, I would have to say, probably top 5 favorite series in Transformers. I loved Prime, and when it initially came out, I wasn't into it. My son was into it. So I obviously collected the toys and stuff like that because they did have some cool looking toys. But the show I didn't get into initially, just because, you know, following up Prime the way it did was it was more episodic. It was lighthearted, this, that, and the other thing. But upon subsequent revisits, which I'm actually revisiting now, due to getting my hands on a particular figure that, thanks to Toy Spotlight, and I'm going to talk about it again on here. I've actually done a review of it. But thanks to that channel, it sparked me into just kind of revisiting things with RAD 15. And I got to tell you, so, you know, with rewatching it again, because I did rewatch it not too long ago, but I've been revisiting the show, and it's good. It's the only way you could follow up Transformers Prime. You couldn't go darker because Transformers Prime was incredibly dark. It had a lot of very, the storytelling was deep. It ran throughout every season. Every season had a very clear and present threat that they had to deal with. It worked on that kind of level. And the fact that we've got this kind of, you know, small social media discourse of normalize admitting Transformers Prime was bad. You're wrong. Transformers Prime was amazing. You can't deny it. It won awards. It's well regarded amongst fandom. So you get some of these weirdos out there saying, "Oh, Transformers Prime is bad," you know, Shh. It was good. It was good. And RAD 15 was good. You know, and there were many things that kind of turned me off from it initially, like I said, being a big fan of Prime, but also the fact that it was called Robots in Disguise. And what got me back into collecting, I've said numerous times, was RAD 2001. That got me back in. So the fact that we were reusing the name and basically just completely disregarding car robots in RAD 01 just bothered me. But I'm older now. I've learned. And I accept it. I think it's great, and it was a great way to follow it up. It was very well written. It had a very coming of age for different characters on the show. Bumblebee coming into his own as a leader and not trying to be the next Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime passing the torch to Bumblebee and being a mentor as opposed to just kind of coming back in and being that stalwart leader. Blah, 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 blah. I love the show. It was great. But we're going to talk about some of the toys because, like I said, I've had my interest in that toy line being, you know, re-sparked. And there were some bangers. So I'm going to give you my top 5, but I'm also going to throw in some runners-up. 2 toys that I really enjoyed that were actually released in the Japanese version of it, which was Transformers Adventure, which are actually just disqualified because they're redecos of Prime figures. We'll get into that. And then there's one figure a character I'm a massive fan of, was just very, very barely edged out from being in the top 5. So we're actually going to talk about 8 toys, but, you know, I have 5 favorites. And we're going to go ahead and start with one of the honorable mentions who was disqualified from contending and being my favorite because I love this toy. This is Adventure Dreadwing, but it is a redeco of Beast Hunter's Dreadwing. Now, Dreadwing is probably one of my top 2 favorite characters from Prime. Tony Todd knocked it out as the voice of Dreadwing, and I just love the character, and he got done dirty. You know, having a hole blown through his chest to kind of be done with him in the show really made me sad. But this design is super cool, and I love the fact, now I actually like the Beast Hunters toy. It was very interesting, coloration, everything like that. But the Transformers Adventure version, and he is a little dusty, I gotta work on cleaning off more of the dust. Transformers Adventure version hit a lot of the original model and toys color schemes correctly, with the gold and the red and, you know, the black and such, you know, being in the places where it needed to be, but it still had that Beast Hunters aesthetic. I actually enjoyed Beast Hunters, and we'll probably talk about that coming up in another video, because again, I want to start doing this kind of stuff. But it looks cool, and I like the Beast Hunters Dreadwing. Was he as good as the Voyager? No, he wasn't, but he's one of my favorite characters, so I always got to have as many as I can. And right now, not being able to get a hold of the Legacy one bugs me, but we're not talking about Legacy. We're talking about RID-15. He is a runner-up, disqualified from contention because he is a redeco. And when we go into the other runner-up, honorable mention, disqualified for being a redeco, I just did a Knockout appreciation video. And Knockout, who is my other favorite character from Prime, this is the Transformers Adventure Bloody Knockout. An amazing mold. I actually originally passed on the Beast Hunters figure because I didn't like the colors at first. I've seen a review of the toy just recently, and it won me over. I think the colors work, so I will eventually track that down. But again, this mold is great. Knockout is my other favorite character from Prime. Duran Norris knocked it out of the park in Prime, but we're not talking about Prime. We're talking about RE-15, and this is why he is a runner-up, honorable mention, knocked out of contention, because he is a redeco. So there we go. And so we're going to get into the honorable mention, who is just edged out of being in my top 5 favorite toys from RAD 2015, and that is Strong Arm. Now, Strong Arm, I love the character of Strong Arm. Another character who had to learn how to work with different bots, the stuffy, rules-laden, you know, authority-type character. She was really good. She was really well-written. Very enjoyable character. And again, I apologize for the dust. Should have dusted her off a little bit more. She's been sitting on the shelf for a good long while. Because I have an aligned continuity shelf, and she sits proudly on there. Now, what edged her out, obviously, this huge amount of kibble here, which again, I mean, they did what they could with the toy, but she is a fun toy to kind of go back and forth between, because it's, you know, much like all the Warrior class stuff, they're very easy to transform. And, you know, she's, you know, a lot of fun to mess with. You know, things work the way they're supposed to. And we'll just go ahead and give her a quick little transform, because she's a lot of fun to flip back and forth between. But I feel like we could have maybe, she's a bit on, you know, the backpack kibble, and it works there because it does what it needs to do. And again, come on, you're gonna make a fool out of me. Boom, there we go. There we go. You know, fun to flip back and forth between. Yeah, oh my God, you are so dusty. I apologize to you. I gotta really clean you up, and the white really shows. But the way the toys were engineered is, I have that all completely off camera. Thank God you probably didn't see all that dust sitting there. But the way the toys are engineered, a lot of fun to just flip back and forth between. Really easy to transform, definitely geared towards the younger audience. But hey, they're toys. They should be geared towards younger audiences, because that's the main market. Why is that not working the way I want it to? Maybe because I need, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. But see, there she is in vehicle mode. A lot of fun, real quick, easy transformation, and very, very accurate to the animation model of her vehicle mode, but at the expense of her having a massive wing backpack, which is relatively accurate to the character model on the show, but she's also just very big and bulky as a toy. Now, on the show itself, she was definitely not a dainty female type character. She was definitely a bit bulkier, which worked obviously to fitting in with her being a police bot character. and she's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed the character, and I like it. But unfortunately, and I will admit, it's a few of the figures on my top 5 that have become part of my top 5 were more recent acquisitions, and I've had her since release, but she's still worth a mention. A lot of fun, and I will never acknowledge that horrible Legacy figure. I saw it in the store. I'm still debating on whether or not picking it up, but I feel like they did my girl dirty. That Legacy figure is just a poor approximation. But then again, that mold, the Alita 1 mold, was just bad. The only reason why I even have a version of that mold is because I just was a sucker for Minerva, and even then Minerva was just really kind of disappointing. But it is what it is. But I will not get that abomination of how they did my girl dirty, because Strong Arm is awesome and she deserved so much better. But yeah, she gets edged out a little bit because she, even though target audience, keeping that in mind, she fits in because, there's no way you're gonna break anything off of this toy. It's solid, even though it's got, the hollow bits here, whatever. Everything's still solid, feels substantial, doesn't feel cheap in the hands, plays well. Flipping back and forth between transformation is just a lot of fun, and that's why she gets edged out of the top 5. But now we're gonna go in to my top 5. Here we go, as I've been yammering on for 10 minutes, so let's try and keep that short. Number 5 is Bumblebee. And, I mentioned recent acquisitions. This was a recent acquisition. My son gave me 2 of his old RAD 15 figures. I believe this is the Night Strike or the Night something or another. And you can definitely tell he's, older. I don't know where the sword accessory is. I don't think it was lost in move. It might just be in a bin somewhere. The sticker wore off. But, the color scheme works. It's not the actual original color scheme because I believe the blues are meant to be silver. He doesn't have the little flame detail. But again, another one of these, and I'm not going to transform this one, I don't think, even though they transform fairly easy, fairly quickly. I'm already going on about 12 or so minutes. This is probably going to be a little bit longer video, and I just don't want to transform every single one because I'll save that for reviews. But he's good. I initially passed on the original release because I had the Prime Bumblebee, and that worked. It was fine. So just my line continuity shelf sat with Prime Bumblebees, which was good. But after getting my hands on this, after messing around with different RAD 2015 figures, this is just a lot of fun. And again, another one, much like Strong Arm, very fun to flip back and forth with, very easy transformation. And, you get in close to the head sculpt there, the detailing. That's, again, accurate to the animation model. Again, it does some different things, or not different things, but it does some things it has to do for transformation purposes. But it's a solid figure and a lot of fun. The articulation is good. It's ball joints where ball joints are supposed to be. Things work. It even has, these are regular elbows. I thought they were soft ratcheted, but they are not. But he's just a lot of fun, and he looks good. And he's actually going to go ahead and go on my Align Continuity shelf now because I like the toy, and that's going to take the place of, I believe I had one of the Beast Hunter Bumblebees on there, but he's going on there now because I like him so much. That is number 5. Let's go into number 4, and this one, a bit difficult for me to do because all of them are so good. But number 4 is Optimus Prime, and this is the Arctic Assaulter Arctic camo version of him. He looks good. I love it. I love how the blues actually work. And this is another one that I got recently from my son. He gave it to me. But I like how the blues look. I like how the colors pop. I think the colors work really well. And it just works as just a really cool Warrior Class Optimus Prime. And that was another thing I really loved about RAD 15 in general, is that we standardized all the main cast in the Warrior class. So you can get everybody. You're not having to jump around and spend a ton of money to get different characters. They're all going to be the same price. But, you know, Prime, and so scale be damned, because Prime was obviously bigger than everybody else. But he just, and you definitely, because I had this from release, my son did actually, because you can definitely tell that's loose. He's missing the sticker there. His accessory, again, is somewhere, but we'll find that. Good, but that wasn't lost in the move. But, you know, looks really good. And I did a review. I've done a couple of review videos of other figures, and I'll review him too, just to kind of throw it back. But the vehicle mode works, everything works, and the fact that they actually had the entirety of the truck on one toy without a separate piece, it's so cool. And these colors, they just pop. I love how that looks, and seeing it on camera, I think it looks even better now. I love it. Prime is number 4. So let's go into number 3. And this is tough for me, because the top 3 are incredibly stacked, and you know, 2 of them are recent acquisitions, 1 I've had for years now, and I'm even on the fence, because probably should Adventure works because it is the Japanese version of RID-15, so whatever, let's not get them so close to the turntable where they're, but it's so tough, and I'm still even kind of out there now worrying about whether or not I should say he's number 3, but he's number 3. I gotta say, Megatronus looks great. I did a review on him just recently. Again, looks real good, and just an awesome toy, awesome representation of Megatronus, and just looks great. I can't say enough about it. I said a bunch about him in my review. He's number 3. He works, and again, it's just a cool looking design. So that is number 3. Let's move this along now here, because we got number 2. And again, another recent acquisition. Oh, and by the way, number 3, Megatronus. This was what sparked me getting back into rediscovering RID-15 here and having a new appreciation for it. But number 2, and again, kind of rough, because I really love this guy. I really love this character. Number 2 is Fracture. And again, just a cool character. I gushed about him in his review that I did for him. If I post that before I post this, I probably won't actually. So stay tuned for that review, because I gush about it. But, you know, the Cliff's Notes version of it is, he's voiced by Kevin Pollak. He's a bounty hunter. He's cool. I love it. And he's a Cybertronian chopper. So he's a motorcycle transformer. Gotta love it. And he's just awesome representation, great look. And he's black, silver, purple, red. Love it. Everything about him I love. And the fact that he's number 2 pains me. But there's a figure, my number 1 figure. And again, there's a whole lot of reasons as why my number 1 is my number 1. And we're going to get into that here in just 1 second. Some of these are incredibly dusty, and I feel terrible. I got to really take them all down and get them clean. But that is number 2. And my number 1 is actually Transformers Adventure Stepper. This is a redeco of the RID-15 Jazz, which was released in the States. This was only released in Japan. This is a Takara release, and it came in a 2-pack with Sideswipe. I love this. I am a massive fan of the Jazz redecos into Stepper, Ricochet, blah, 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 what have you. So every time I have an opportunity to get a version of Stepper, Ricochet, whatever, I'm gonna do it. And the colors work, the black, the gold, the red, the white, everything on it just works. And I'm gonna do a proper review of this guy too after I get him cleaned up. But they also remolded the head and stuff like that. It's just great. And I actually really enjoyed the Jazz mold. So getting it in Stepper colors is just awesome. And I love it. That is my number 1. That is my top 5 with some runners up for my favorite toys from RAD15. What are your favorite toys from RAD15? Did you collect RAD15? Did you enjoy RAD15? Did you not enjoy RAD15? Do you think I'm rambling on too much about a show that people probably don't look as fondly on as I do? Who knows? These are all questions that have to be asked and addressed, and I'm asking them and addressing them, what have you. But these are my favorites from the line. What are some of yours? Did you like the video? Give it a like. Give me a subscribe if you did. All that good stuff, blah, blah, blah. I say unto you this. Be kind to yourself and fellow human beings, because life's too short. So, play on. And I will see you in the next video. Greatness.